Imagine a world where reality can be altered with just the stroke of a pen, where colorful characters lit between enthralling panels. Manhwa, South Korea's signature comic, has captured the hearts of readers around the world with its thrilling storylines, stunning illustrations, and unexpected twists. From epic adventure stories to heart-stirring romances, let's explore the world of Manhwa filled with magic and emotion, where every page takes us deeper into an unforgettable world. Are you ready to dive into stories that will stir your imagination? The story begins with a tragic fight, where all the human defenders were defeated, and the city they were protecting was on the verge of falling. The protagonist, Mushin, wonders why this horrific virtual reality has become his reality, and how no one can stop these monsters now. Determined to try a new skill, even if it means his death, Mushin goes all out to fight the final boss. However, he fails, and the protagonist is torn to pieces. Even in the face of defeat, Mushin refuses to accept it, shouting his defiance. Suddenly, Mushin finds himself back in the classroom, with his classmates and teacher looking at him in surprise. The teacher scolds him for his outburst, pointing out his poor academic performance and the upcoming college entrance exam. Mushin then realizes that he has been transported 10 years into the past, just a day before the virtual apocalypse he experienced. Mushin pulls out his apocalypse ring, wondering if he can use it to enter the game before it starts. However, the teacher interrupts him, calling him trash and telling him to leave. Mushin tries to explain that he could use this opportunity to prepare for the upcoming disaster, but the teacher continues to berate him. Ignoring the teacher's scolding, Mushin becomes focused on his goals, determined to change the course of the future. As the years pass, the virtual game he experienced is finally completed in the year 2046. The world emerged from nowhere and rapidly spread across the globe within a few short years. National leaders and ordinary citizens alike became embroiled in this new reality, compelled to participate. The game's currency could be exchanged for real-world money, allowing a single weapon to purchase a car or luxury mansion. Even world leaders engaged in transactions within this apocalyptic realm. As a result, some individuals amassed immense wealth, while others lost everything, yet the wave of this apocalyptic game could not be stopped. Despite the overwhelming power of the game's demonic gods, humanity never lost hope. They recognized the need to unite in order to defeat the monsters, even though they had previously been engaged in their own wars. Ultimately, the combined strength of humanity prevailed, and the war came to an end. However, for one individual, Mushin, the experience was perhaps nothing more than a dream or illusion, and he did not even have the chance to live again. Nevertheless, Mushin still believes that the light of humanity will shine once more as he returns to his home. At this moment, Mushin notices a letter on his table. The letter only mentioned that they would go on an expedition and return later. Upon reading this, Mushin understands that everything is about to change. He knows that his father and mother will surely survive until the end of this game, and he will do everything in his power to eliminate any monsters that come their way. The next day, at 11 o'clock in the morning, Mushin takes his ring. He thinks that this ring belongs to him and that he might be able to use it to change a bit of humanity's destiny within that world. As he puts the ring on his finger, a glow begins to emerge from it. At this moment, Mushin realizes that it worked, and his soul leaves his body. Now, Mushin will be conquering everything in that other world again, as he was being drawn further and further into that apocalyptic world. He feels happy because this is his second time in this world, but now he knows all kinds of monsters and anything that exists there. As he enters this dimension, Mushin meets an old man who asks him to reconnect to the server. The old man also asks the warrior to become strong because he is the future of humanity. After this small motivation, the old man gives Mushin some skills to choose from. Mushin chooses the sorcerer class, as it is his past life. However, he didn't like the other class he was offered, as it required a lot of money, and he suffered a lot to become strong. The protagonist is about to use a certain skill, but as soon as he tries, the system informs him that it's impossible for him to change his current profession, as he already has one. Mushin is confused, as he has never entered this kind of dimension before and has never had a class. The old man then tells Simu to check his system screen to see what class he has. Upon checking, Simu finds that he is a level 1 mage with 0 experience. Toro is baffled, as he was already reborn, so everything should have started from 0. However, Mushin realizes that he has been reborn with his previous skills, including the mage class, which he knows is difficult to max out due to the high costs involved. The old man then flees, leaving Mushin to ponder his situation. Mushin had hoped to be reborn with a powerful weapon, but instead, he finds that he has a skeletal hand, the nature of which is unclear. Mushin tries to understand the logic behind this, as without any attributes, he would be practically useless. As Mushin is contemplating this, he suddenly finds himself transported to a new world. The system congratulates him for being the first to enter this apocalyptic world and grants him the title of the fastest man in the world. However, Mushin is not pleased with this title, as he doesn't think anyone would use it for anything. When Mushin saw that his attributes had significantly improved, he thought that this exclusive feature was something he deserved for a long time. He had previously tried to deal with some boring enemies but never succeeded. Now, he decided to take action and launched a fireball at the small boars. However, the damage of 12 was not enough to defeat them, as they seemed unaffected. Mushin then realized that this was due to his current level being only 1. He had forgotten what it was like to be at such a low level. After running for a while, Mushin heard a girl's voice calling for help, as a gigantic wild boar was chasing her. The system then presented Mushin with a mission to save the girl, promising good rewards. Mushin approached the girl, but instead of helping her, he unexpectedly slapped her, causing her to fly backward. The large and small boars stopped and tried to understand what had just happened, leaving the girl confused about how the warrior had managed to do this. The protagonist was simply gathering mushrooms when the boar king attacked her. She wondered how this warrior knew her story, including how she had taken her grandfather's treasure and exchanged it for sweets, and how she had tried to take the warrior's power along with a small demon. The warrior also noticed some marks appearing on her, and the system showed her attributes were quite high. The protagonist claimed these were just some blood and tears experiences from his past life with her. The protagonist then attacked the warrior, Mushin, demanding he die. Mushin dodged and asked the boar to deal with her. The boar attacked, but she quickly defeated it. She then turned her attention back to Mushin, refusing to let go of his foot. Mushin took the opportunity to cast a fireball at her, causing 36 damage and angering her further. Mushin continued to run and attack her with fireballs, causing 39 damage each time. Remembering his past life memories, Mushin realized the X1's magical source came from the demonic energy of the forest. He led her 10 manners away from the forest, at which point she agreed to run towards him. As she approached, she stopped and began trembling, realizing Mushin had discovered another weakness of hers. Mushin then prepared to use a new ability, summoning a giant fireball to fall in her direction. She is startled by this turn of events. At this moment, their former acquaintance Juan is quickly defeated by someone. As soon as this person defeats her, Mushin manages to gain some points, allowing him to acquire new attributes. Mushin's companion is very pleased to see that Mushin has also gained the possibility of becoming stronger, obtaining some increased percentages. The fate of Sean is then determined as Mushin tries to pursue him. The defeat of the individual there was quite remarkable, but Mushin wants to see what reward might be given, also by taking hidden things from her. At this moment, an unknown arm appears from above. Mushin grabs the bony hand and realizes that this hand of death has leveled up at the same time as him. This was a new and unexpected development, as Mushin had never heard of it in his previous life. He finds it quite intriguing, but activating it would require some effort. For now, Mushin decides to focus on other matters, needing to collect certain materials. He will soon need to go to the beginner's village for this purpose. The girl is happy that Mushin saved her life, and offers him a gift in return. This gift turns out to be a very powerful celestial staff, which Mushin gratefully accepts. The girl then asks Mushin to escort her back to the beginner's village as her bodyguard. As they make their way, the system notifies Mushin that he must complete a quest to return to the village where King Juan is. The protagonist, Mushin, doesn't really care about the rewards he would be receiving, as the true reward for him was the fact that he was able to bring the girl back to her grandfather, who was one of the village chiefs. When Mushin approached the cabin, the girl was reunited with her overjoyed grandfather. In the background, Mushin receives a reward from the system, and he goes to thank the warrior who had brought the girl back safely. However, the warrior asks the grandfather not to be so happy. The grandfather then requests a new task for Mushin to hunt some zombies, as the girl's blood still contained a bit of poison, and the zombie blood would help remove it completely. Mushin accepts the mission, and the system appears, celebrating his happiness. As Mushin leaves, the grandfather wishes that the warrior doesn't suffer too much, and also wishes Mushin good luck. Mushin bids farewell to the elderly man, signaling his advancement. Now that he will be facing monsters and is a mage, Mushin must be well prepared. He decides to visit a nearby pharmacy to acquire essential items and supplies to aid him in defeating the monsters. Upon entering the pharmacy, Mushin observes the beauty of the establishment and calls for Mushin. He requests 28 small blue potions, each costing 50 gold, totaling 1,500 gold. The pharmacist approaches Mushin and wonders if he only wants the blue potions. She suggests that if Mushin can make her a little happy, she may offer him a good discount. However, Mushin declines, as he is only interested in purchasing the potions and nothing else. After some time, Mushin leaves the pharmacy, but the pharmacist asks him to return later for some unspecified matters. As Mushin is leaving, another warrior appears, inquiring about their conversation. Mushin takes the opportunity to explain the entire situation to the warrior, ensuring that the matter does not escalate further. In another location, Mushin is observed gathering the items he purchased from the pharmacy. Identifying items in this game is more exciting than real-life experiences. Soon, specialized merchants will begin selling unidentified items, and the wealthy will engage in battles to reach the top. At this moment, Mushin needs to craft a stolen staff and hopes to evolve it into something powerful. After a moment of tension, Mushin finally gets what he wanted. His staff reaches a rather rare class. Now that Mushin has the best staff, it's the perfect time for him to start hunting and wiping out the zombies. The scene then cuts to the zombie area, where we observe fire raining down from the sky, catching all the zombies on the ground. Mushin uses a 10% fire rate that inflicts extra damage on the zombies, allowing him to quickly defeat them. However, Mushin also notices a skeleton's hand that may evolve in the future. Mushin is unsure whether he will sell it or keep it for himself. Nonetheless, he is excited about the new players who will soon be entering this world, as he can earn a significant amount of money by selling to them. Contrary to Mushin's expectations, the business he thought would take a long time doesn't take that long. By noon, we observe several people taking the same ring that Mushin has, putting it on their fingers and entering the realistic game world. These new players are now happily immersed in the game, determined to acquire the best equipment. At this moment, we observe some individuals acting in a peculiar manner, interacting with a certain pharmaceutical product. However, one person who touched it properly has to witness the misfortune of the blacksmith's demise, causing the NPCs in the area to become visibly upset. Right at this time, while they were discussing this, we observe our hero in the background setting up his small stand. This was the moment for him to begin what he had planned, selling items to the monsters that respawn every half hour. All that remained was to wait for players to appear. After managing to defeat a fair number of monsters, he had acquired various items, including medicine vials, red and blue potions, and other valuable loot. He could now sell these at a very high price. However, he was currently at level 4, and if he were to leave this setup unattended, everyone would be drawn to it, potentially causing issues with what he wants to achieve at the moment. Mushin's goal is not to draw too much attention to himself, as he simply wants to sell his items without attracting the notice of other individuals who may want to engage in conflict with him. Moments later, Mushin shouts that he is selling high-quality items, but the general consensus is that he is an idiot for trying to sell items in a game that has just been launched, and no one would be crazy enough to buy them right away. As a result, the crowd already recognizes Mushin as a fool, and they intend to ignore this peculiar individual attempting to sell his wares. The protagonist, feeling confident in his abilities, believes he can do whatever he wants at the moment, as the newbies around him are no match for his strong attributes. Suddenly, he notices a girl approaching his stall. As she gets closer, she remarks that the items are great but questions why the prices are so high. The nearby gossipers are already fawning over her, captivated by her beauty. The protagonist, taking a closer look at the girl, realizes that she is Ting Shu, who will one day become one of the 10 mages of the Summer Kingdom and a high-ranking officer in a safe zone during the apocalyptic world. She will be supported by a mysterious organization that helps her grow stronger. However, the protagonist is surprised to find that she wants to show him something that didn't exist in the past, such as the ability to modify one's character, implying that players enter this world with their real-life characters. The protagonist considers himself lucky to have encountered the most beautiful girl he knows, Ting Shu. She approaches his stall, seemingly interested in what he has to offer, but is surprised to see that he already has equipment that can only be found in the zombie area, even though the game has just begun. The protagonist wonders if she truly wants to ask him something. If the woman was interested in some items, the merchant might have been willing to sell her more than half of the items on the ground for over 55,000 gold, as she was quite attractive and one of the first customers. However, even though he would offer her a discount due to her beauty, she was still sad to see that he was charging too much. If she thought the prices were too high, there was another way for her to get a discount. The merchant then loudly proclaimed that if she just touched his thigh, he would give her a 20% discount on anything she wanted to buy. Calling him shameless, the woman stepped back, realizing she could find the same items herself by hunting zombies, though her guild didn't have that much money. Suddenly, a man interrupted, offering to pay 100,000 gold coins and take everything. In the background, a mysterious figure was observed, who turned out to be one of the top 10 ranked members of the Madam's Guild, even though these memories were from the protagonist's previous life. This was someone who would steal from bosses or monsters, always striving to be on top. The woman then interrupted, asking why the man was there, as she had made a deal with him. However, the protagonist easily broke that deal, advising her not to argue with the high-ranking guild member, as she would surely lose. Undeterred, the woman raised the stakes, offering 150,000 gold coins. Our hero had initially requested a certain item, but Madame raised the price to 200,000 gold. Our hero realized that the Yuan and Madame's forces were essentially spending all their money to acquire these top-tier equipment. Although it was quite expensive, it was still worth it, as getting stronger faster with these items would be greatly beneficial. As he was considering his next plan, he noticed that Madame couldn't miss this opportunity. Feeling embarrassed, she agreed to certain terms with him. Seeing this, he asked his new opponent to leave, as he had something important to address. Once the opponent left, our hero turned to Moan and said that he should recognize him. Ignoring this, Moan's companions interrupted what he was doing, and Moan asked his boss to calm down, as it wasn't good to fight in the village, but they could play a bit with ambushes outside, showing some hatred towards our hero. However, this hatred was likely aimed at taking our hero down. Despite this, the scene then cuts to another location, behind a church, where we see our hero's face filled with happiness as he receives some transitions from someone. At this moment, our hero also wanted to obtain other very precious items from this person, but she rudely asked him to leave, threatening to do something to him if he did. There was no need to worry, though, as he was certain that he would have another chance in the future, and next time, he would make her experience even more of his content from his previous encounter. It was highly likely that she was still quite inexperienced, and although Mushin was rather arrogant and a bit crazy, he was still a decent guy, even if he never even loses a 20% discount, which means that 122,000 gold would still be charged from her. The protagonist has a disc account that requires him to touch the woman's legs, but she is hesitant about this. Ruff then throws the woman against the wall, and the protagonist wonders if she really wants to fulfill the promise to exchange the legs. The woman is unsure, but the protagonist presses her, and we see her still staying hesitant. The protagonist, Mushin, understands a little of the story and smiles. He realizes that even a large loss or something considered well will be making the transition, so the woman does not understand how this really worked. Basically, Mushin reveals that he has a little grudge against Madame, the guy from Ines, and never planned to sell items to that guy. While this was a little remarkable, Mushin was able to obtain a large amount of supply from the beginning. The woman wonders who this Mushin is and that besides offending the Madame group, they are not so dangerous for now, but in the future, maybe it will be. However, the woman still needs to stay strong to be able to help him since Mushin just helped her. The scene then cuts to another place in the village, where the system is congratulating Mushin for having completed his mission. The old man also thanks the protagonist's help, as it allowed Chia Wan to get his blood completely clean. Additionally, the beasts attacked a lot by these guys, and due to that, their village had some quite high casualties. However, he only asked the old man for some bandages to use on himself. Even so, he had accumulated some points, which he could use to level up his magic abilities. As soon as he did this, the system acknowledged his progress and he leveled up. The system screen then displayed Shermu's new stats, and Shermu was pleased to see that Mushin had surpassed the noobs, which was more than expected. Moving forward, Shermu needed to focus on other missions as quickly as possible. He commented that it seemed Mushin had used some cheaters to advance faster, essentially using them. After pausing and thinking, Shermu remembered that the old man had said he could cure anything. Shermu then invented a story about having a terminal illness, claiming that only the old man could cure him. The old man starts to accept some magical words, saying that he will not let our warrior die easily from mere wounds. He then uses a cure and some buffs on our hero. The system then appears, indicating that the old man has granted Mushin some buffs and extra fortunes. Mushin is happy to receive this, realizing that this was the true reward for completing the task. The village chief's permanent buff is quite a significant boost, allowing Mushin to advance considerably. The background figures who observe our hero's performance end up replicating the same idea, liking the concept and deciding to also grant buffs to Mushin. The old man is confused by this, but our hero's next goal is to explore a completely unknown dungeon. As Mushin ventures through the forests, he discovers that this is no ordinary forest, as it drains 5 of his health every second. He realizes that he cannot use potions in this environment. The hero could not recover his health in that place, as normal players would not last even 30 seconds there. However, even if you have money in life, you can buy potions to heal. But with the cure the hero got from the village chief, he could fully recover his health. While the hero was happy about this, he noticed something happening in another direction. He observed a person being chased by ghostly things, and the cloth-like entities ended up immobilizing the person's companion instead of helping. As the hero rushed to their aid, another cloth-like entity pierced the companion's chest, and the system showed that the monster was a high-level newbie killer. Despite the mummy's speed, the hero was able to use his staff to cast fire at them, dealing significant damage. The mummies continued to chase the hero, but he had a plan to lure them to a swamp in the forest. Although the mummies initially seemed hesitant to follow, they eventually became enraged and attacked the hero from all sides. However, the hero was able to dodge their blows, and the mummies' relentless assault proved to be a boring job for the hero, as he easily defeated them.